Okay, so today I have my Technics cassette deck here. It's the RS-M7 model. It has no overcurrent protection in it from the factory, so we're going to take the top off here. We're going to look around and see where the best place to mount this fuse block would be, and I'm going to put it right here. So here's our blocks. I have to put this down so I can sand it and mount it, and it's going to go right here. Where should I put it down? If I put it down here, I'll be on the writing, so I gotta put it over here. Okay, so I'll take my drill. I made my little mark there. This bit is very, very dull. So I'll put another one in. There we go. We'll untie these wires here. And here is where the and this is a little cap here where the cord connected. Okay, now with this here, I have to sand this so I get a nice flow through with the solder. Okay, so I got to get a nice flat edge here. And this is a really nice flat edge. So I'm going to go back and forth a few times here. I'll go this way a few times, and I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Go back and forth a few times this way. So I got my surfaces nicely sanded. Oops, I gotta get this from here. So I'll fold this in half and I'll just hit both sides again. You'll want to get a real nice solder flow on here. Okay, so we'll strip our 18 gauge wire here. There are strands twisted together nicely. I will get the flux on the wire here. I'll brush it on the block here on the top and on the bottom of the block. Put the wire into the block, make sure it's going to fit in there. Okay, now I'm going to take and clean my iron off there. I'm going to put some solder on the iron. Okay, now I'm going to put the wire into the hole there. I'm going to heat the terminal and the wire. See how I got a real nice neat solder joint there? Gonna let that cool a minute. But I don't have a good solder joint on this side. So I have to take and put some flux down here and here. Put some more solder on my iron there. And I'll just heat the terminal and the wire. There we go, we got a nice full solder joint there. Now let that cool. Turn it over. Now this side looks kind of overflowed, so I'm going to heat this up again and hopefully get a nice even flow on both sides. So I'm going to put flux here, flux down here. Hold this really still and just heat that up, let the solder flow. There we go. We have a nice solder joint here. Turn it over. It's a little bit full on the bottom, but that's okay. I'm going to sand a little bit more on this side because I don't want to have trouble with it because of the plating. Makes it a little bit harder to solder. The wire I'm going to be soldering on this side is a finer gauge. So I'm going to have to unscrew the power transformer for this one. Twist the strands together. I'm just going to go ahead and stick this whole thing right in the flux there. And I'll just spread it around evenly with the solder wire there. I'll tin this wire here a little bit. Put some solder on my iron here. And I'll drop solder it. There's a nice solder connection on that side right there. Turn it over. Hey, I got a nice flow on this side too. So I'm going to just heat that up because it didn't quite fill the hole. So I'm going to heat this side a little bit more. There we go. That whole hole filled. There's the whole hole filled on that side. Isn't that cool? I'm going to turn it over. It needs just a little more on this side. So I'll just stick a little flux right here. Put a little more on the iron. I'll just hit that spot right there. There we go. Now we have a very, very nice full solder joint here on both sides. Now that I'm done with my iron, I'm going to just tin it. And I'll be unplugging it. Here is why I put this fuse in these stereo components. See how small the filament is in here? And see how big the filament is in your typical house fuse? If one of these rectifier diodes down here go bad in a shorting condition, it can overheat the power transformer. the transformer can get very hot, short out the windings in the power transformer, and it could possibly start a fire in the house if the line cord gets hot enough outside to short out. This is the Technics RS-M7 unit, and it was UL listed without any overcurrent protection in it. Here's a close-up view of the front of the unit. Okay, so now I'll be able to bend these terminals up a little bit here. That one, and this one. I'll put the transformer back in place. I like magnetic screwdrivers for this here. Okay, so now I'll put a screw through the fuse block. I'll come through the back here. Put my nut and washer on in here. I'll just tighten my nut up a little bit here. Make sure it's straight. I'll push this wire down so it's coming up from the bottom so it looks neat and from the factory. Make sure nothing is pinched. And I'll put these two wires back in. I gotta pull this down a little bit more up here because I have the other one there. Okay, now I can get this tie wrap back around these two wires that go up to the switch. Okay, so we're going to put our half amp fuse in. Make sure it's seated properly. And I'll finish off by putting a little Loctite on this screw here so it doesn't loosen up. I'll put a little turbo prop under here to keep it up level.